I don't know how far left I should go in my analysis sound bites, but you got this guy, Elie Mystal of The Nation, and he's, I think, an MSNBC contributor. This is his take on what the takeaway is in the wake of the Dobbs decision, 12.
The way that it lines up with everything that the court is doing is that their view of the country, the conservative view of the country, is that if dead white men didn't say it in the 18th century, it doesn't exist. And we know that to be an intellectually bankrupt point because the same people who say that ignore the Ninth Amendment, where those dead white men said we can't possibly say all the rights that exist. So it's a full-on broadside attack on liberal democracy.
Okay. All that matters, is whether you're a cisgendered male, basically. Did a white man say it in the 18th century? He went on to say you basically need to be a cisgendered male or a gun, he said, for your opinion to matter in America.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think that there's a lot of, like we were talking about before, wishful thinking. I mean, they were living under a Supreme Court that had imposed a leftist liberal view on the nation at a time when the nation at that time was not there. And now the nation is not there. And when that was taken away, they suddenly start crying foul and saying, oh, this is not democratic. This is, there's no democracy here. Right. And I think that thing where you look, we live in a nation of people who have different points of view, and we have to respect those. That is literally the definition of democracy. That is what our nation is built on. That's where all of our rights and protections come from. I will just point out, though, the divide on abortion is a lot smaller than people say that it is. So, it looks like something that is totally polarizing, right? 49% of Americans say they're pro-choice, 49% say they're pro-life. But when you drill down into the details, there's just so much consensus. So, 87% of Americans believe if the mother's life in danger, an abortion should be legal. 84% believe that in cases of rape and incest, it should be legal, including 70% of Republicans believe in rape and incest exceptions. Only 34% of Americans think it should be legal after the first trimester. So that's the Mississippi law, right? 12 to 15 weeks. Yep. That's where over law. 60% of Americans are at.
Yep. And the European law, that's where the Europeans are too. For after first trimester, it's not allowed.
Only 19% of Americans think it should be legal in the third trimester. And the thing that I find so frustrating about this, though, is that when you look at where the political parties are, instead of catering to that, to 66% of Americans, right? You have one side saying, we demand that a woman be able to choose to do this up until the day that the baby is born, right? They never put an upper limit on it. And then the other side saying, we're going to get rid of the rape and incest exceptions, right? Meaning one side's catering to 19% and one side's catering to 30%. And I find that very frustrating, Megyn. I don't know about you.
Mm-hmm. No, of course. But I also feel like now it's going to go the way it ought to go. Because what the Supreme Court did in Roe and Casey was tell the one side, you don't get to fight anymore. You're it. It's over. Right. We're it. Our decision is final. And we now want you to accept this as final. And they didn't have buy-in. Like half the country, as I said before, 30 states in the country banned abortion entirely when Roe came down. And then Casey comes along 22 years later and basically affirms Roe, mostly. And not much had changed. Still, more than half the states opposed abortion on demand. Yeah. And now here we are in 2022, and 26 states petitioned the government or the Supreme Court to overturn Roe and Casey. Nothing has settled. They remained as ardent and angry about this issue and it being taken away from the citizenry today as they were, arguably back in 1973 and certainly back in 1992. So the court solved nothing. It injected itself into an area where it did not have the right to be. This court, in an explosive way, for sure, got the court out of it, finally, right? It's been laboring under this role of trying to be a super legislature and decide, well, what's an undue burden on a woman? Where do we draw the line? What's viability? What like, they don't know. This is what Justice Scalia was saying all the time. He's like, I don't know anything. He's like, how did I get asked these questions? And he was saying, if we go, he used to point to the Eighth Amendment, the prohibition against cruel and unusual punishment, and say, okay, the court changes its opinion based on evolving standards of decency underneath that. So yesterday, it's it's decent, it's considered okay to execute a person who commits certain crimes. But tomorrow, the evolving standards of decency could say that's no longer okay, and that's cruel and unusual punishment, and therefore the Eighth Amendment applies. He used to say, how do I know? I don't know anything. He said, people used to come to me. They'd ask me like about the latest Hollywood star. All they see is a blank look on my face. I don't know shit. I don't know about the evolving standards. That's what we have lawmakers for. Right, they're the ones who are supposed to keep their finger on the pulse, to answer to the electorate, to be held accountable, to be booted out of office if they misstep.
Yeah.
And so that's what this decision is now doing, saying, right, I don't trust Alito or Kagan or Breyer or Thomas to be my judge on evolving standards of decency. I want somebody who I can fire, right? That's what the court's trying to get back to.
Absolutely. And, to me, I'm looking at this in the context of the bipartisan gun legislation that was just passed. And to me, these are sort of two models, right? There's the model of having the Supreme Court do your dirty work and impose from above a standard that maybe, I even would agree with that standard, right? But you could hardly say that is like in an objective way more democratic. But that model is to prevent Democrats from having to do the hard work of convincing their fellow Americans that they're right.
Yes.
And when you look at how that bipartisan gun control went, Senator Murphy went in there with an upper limit. He went in there knowing what he could ask for and knowing what he couldn't ask for, right? He went in there with the design to reassure his Republican colleagues that they were going to get somewhere where they could both be not comfortable maybe, but equally uncomfortable, right? They did the hard work of persuasion. And that's how we got that great gun safety bill, right? Which, satisfied everybody a little bit, unsatisfied everybody a little bit more. That's what a democracy looks like. That's what legislation is supposed to look like. And that is the model that I really wish the Democrats would sort of be leaning into. But unfortunately, because there's so much overreach, left-wing overreach, going so far away from where most Americans are at, they know that that's kind of a lost cause. And so they look to the Supreme Court instead. And then you have situations like this.
Are the high fuel costs putting a damper on your summer vacation plans? From higher prices at the pump to a jump in airfare, it is getting more expensive to get away for a week. But what if you could soak up those vacation vibes year round without even having to leave your property? Get a Michael Phelps swim spa by Master Spas and you can do it. Whether you want to stay close to home this summer or just want to extend your break, a Michael Phelps swim spa by Master Spas can transform your backyard into an oasis. It combines the benefits of a pool with the therapy of a hot tub. This is going to reinvent your family time. You will love it. Your family will love it. Your friends will love it too. Michael Phelps swim spas by Master Spas come in a variety of sizes to complement virtually any yard, even if it's a small backyard. And since it's heated, you can use it year round in any climate. Michael Phelps swim spas are 100% made in the USA by Master Spas. That's the world's largest swim spa manufacturer. Their success is for a reason. Go to masterspas.com, put in the promo code MK to save $1,000 on one of those Michael Phelps swim spas or $500 on a Master Spas hot tub. That's masterspas.com, promo code MK. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.